Good evening. Me and my colleagues are very happy that you joined this session at the end of a long day. I'm going to talk with my colleagues about the Project Fourth, which stands for Formation of Teachers in Emerging Challenge Areas. And what you see here on your screen is the logo of the project. It reflects not only the Philippine flag, the colors of the flag, but also the membership of our consortium. The schools, the university involved, but also the other partners from Europe and also from the Philippines. The project Fourth is a capacity building project paid for, financed by the European Commission in the context of the Erasmus Plus capacity building projects, and intends to develop an approach to prepare primary and secondary school teachers to operate more successfully and effectively in challenged areas. And of course, as we are all aware, the Philippines is a good example of a country that actually has these challenged areas. But of course, it's not unique. This is a global issue. Uh, Most countries, of course, have challenged areas. But we use the Philippines together to see how we can develop a model, that is of global use. And will be inspirational also for other world regions. Today we have 4 presenters. I'm Robert Wagenaar. I'm the overall coordinator of the Project Force, and I'm from the University of Groningen in the Netherlands, Europe. And then we have Dr. Malgarejo, who is the Force academic coordinator, and she comes from the Education for an Independent World, which is based in Brussels. But as you can see, she's also from the Philippines. She was born in the Philippines. We have Dr. Rickver Oreta, who is the Force local team coordinator of the University of Saint Lazare, one of the universities, one of the 5 universities involved in this project. And of course, he comes from Bacolod. And then we have Dr. Asuncion de Quilla, who is the Force local team coordinator from Visayas State University based in Iloilo. These 2 reflect also 3 other universities, 5 in total, in the project. And then we have Dr. Julia Gonzalez, who's the Force project designer, also as Emma, coming from the Education for an Independent World. The project, of course, has clear aims, which we try to develop, and we have made tremendous progress already. We already together, in particular, the people from the Philippines, have put much effort in developing the master major specialization in education with special focus on challenge areas. And we think this will be very useful for those who decide as teachers to go to a challenge area after graduation and to become a teacher there. This specialization is based on 6 modules, which have been elaborated by the joint Philippine EU team. And I will talk a little bit later about these modules, because these are the core of our work. Also, the project gives an introduction to a tailored approach, content and tools required to work in the challenge areas in the undergraduate program. So besides the master program, we have developed these elements for the undergraduate program. And we developed a repository of methodologies and materials, a toolbox, you can say, created to perform successfully in challenge areas. Materials, of course, are crucial to be successful. And why should you invent them yourself when they have been invented already as a result of teamwork, of informed people, informed colleagues. In the project, we have involved school teachers, but also the local communities, because of course, schools are based in local communities, and the local communities play an important role in education, both on primary and secondary area level. Together, we developed a learning community of teachers, academic staff, but also those interested in this topic from Europe and the Philippines. And we have worked together, learned together, and have come up with resources which we have made and will make available to others. Because it's an academic program, it also offers a robust basis for thesis writing and for further research, both locally, regionally, nationally, and globally. And then we have these program modules I was referring to already. Module 1, because every module has a particular task, have a particular subject that will be developed during the program, the master program. Teacher profile in marginal areas, motivation, relevance, meaning, teacher beliefs on the impact of marginalization and poverty. We think that is an important module because it tries to get a grip on the problems which we try to tackle. Then we have module 2, context analysis, defining social impact indicators, review of data, what makes a challenge area, what can we learn, what should be the response to this. Module 3, creating a learning climate in challenging realities. So it's already trying to find the solution. Appreciative inquiry, empathy, proximity, expectations, effective and inviting use of existing classroom space. You must get a grip on these elements to be a good teacher, at least that's what we think. And module 4, teaching, learning and assessment in challenge areas, particular focusing on the methodologies to be used. And module 5, creation of a relevant and innovative teaching environment and materials for challenging realities. And the last module, creating a teaching and learning community among colleagues, teacher peer, planning of activities, development of self-esteem, action research, and awareness of a global community and other experiences in the world taking place in similar areas. A really packed module, but it's very clear what we intend to say with and develop with regard to this module. We hope that this helps you to understand what we try to establish. But my colleagues now will talk a little bit more about the details of this project.
Thank you, Robert. The transnational training of trainers meetings were the platform where the project objectives were realized, despite the limitations brought about by the pandemic at the midterm of the project. The objectives were to create a full curriculum for a new major in Masters of Education program, teaching in challenged areas, to be approved for implementation by the Commission of Higher Education. 2, to reach agreements on plans of action for dissemination for pre-service and in-service teachers through webinars and blended learning. And 3, to infuse content, methodology, and spirit of forth in teaching in challenged areas in the undergraduate program. We followed the collegial and collaborative tuning methodology, pulling together the expertise, research, and experience of every participant to accomplish a CHED-approved new major that is student-centered, competency-based, and comparable with other recognized majors. The meetings were held in small groups, inter-university or intra-university, followed by plenaries for contrast and consensus in objective implementation. The transnational trainings were held 3 times, the last one held online because of mobility restrictions caused by the pandemic. These are 5-day intensive meetings participated by all Philippine and European partners and spearheaded by the project coordinators, the University of Groningen and EDU, Education for an Interdependent World, from which the academic director as the person of reference in the Philippines. Curriculum development that was started in July of 2019 was submitted for CHED approval in April of 2020, approved in March of 2021, and now implemented by West Visayas State University and the Polytechnic University of the Philippines this academic year, to be followed soon by 2 more universities in the next. The pandemic has not stopped us from holding the 3rd transnational meeting in March of 2021 online, and to carry through the training webinars agreed there. starting in June of this year on 6 topics identified by teachers and teacher educators as urgent in challenged areas. These were distributed in 30 sessions that will continue until February of 2022, facilitated by partners of the consortium. Neither has it stopped the infusion of the content, methodology, and spirit in teaching in challenged areas in the undergraduate program through blended learning. The connections and activities of the fourth professional community continue through this pandemic, united by a common mission to focus the narrative of teaching in challenged areas as opportunities of social transformation. I will now call on Dr. Rick Oreta to share on teacher training through webinars and action research.
As every mission begins with a vision, our vision for teachers in our challenged areas is to equip them with the competencies, knowledge, skills, and values necessary to become catalysts for social transformation in their respective challenged area. This vision we plan was realized and became more meaningful as 3 universities in Europe, namely University of Groningen, Universidad de Deusto, and Universidad de Bologna, with the 5 universities in the Philippines, namely Centro Escolar University, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, University of St. Lasal, University of Southeastern Philippines, and West Visayas State University, with the other organizations, namely the Education for an Interdependent World, the Interred, Teresiana International Association, CIMEO, Philippine Association for Teachers and Educators, or PAFTE, and the Commission on Higher Education, established partnership with the Department of Education for trainings, webinars, and relevant responsive action research in urban and rural realities, indigenous groups, and alternative learning system. The starting point of our journey is a literal journey into the real world of our challenged teachers and learners that spans the entire archipelago of our country to the Philippines. From the urban areas of Metro Manila to the coastal areas in Iloilo, to the rural areas in Davao, and extending to the hinterlands of Negros Occidental. All these were done to carry out consultations with the teachers, conduct interviews with both teachers and learners, including their family members, and to engage them in focus group discussions for a deeper understanding of their needs and challenges. To back up our qualitative data with an objective assessment of the situation, we carried out an appreciative inquiry through a needs assessment in order to yield a baseline data that will back up our action plan. The ocular inspection of the available resources in the learning environment in a geographically challenged area, for example, in Sagaing, La Castellana, Negros Occidental, proved to be a real eye-opener for all of us on the team. In response to the challenges we gathered firsthand and as an offshoot of our exposure trips to our DepEd partner schools, we designed, organized, and carried out a series of training and webinars specifically crafted for teachers in the challenged areas. Because these webinars are data-driven, the training objectives were really based on the assessed needs and realities of the partner DepEd schools and teachers. The destination will never be reached without fuel for the vehicle, and what fuels our journey towards our goal is action research. Through action research, we are able to gather pertinent data and of course information that inform our plans and decisions and enable us to provide relevant and responsive training and seminars to teachers in the challenged areas. Initial result of the focus group discussion conducted reveals that teachers are being empowered by the school principal to innovate ways to improve students' performance in literacy and numeracy. The focus group discussion further reveals that inputs from the webinars they attended proved very useful in helping them create more effective strategies for teaching reading and mathematics. Teachers were also very open in discussing the lack of parental support which they pointed out as one of the major challenges they are currently facing. Our focus has always been on the significance of our little contributions, that these little contributions will eventually create a ripple effect towards social transformation through teacher training and formation. And to share more on the development of the Master of Arts in Education major in Teaching in Challenged Area, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Maria Christine Dequilia of West Visayas State University.
One of the project's significant tasks is to develop a master's program that would motivate teachers to teach in places where most would not dare go. These are places which are served the least, the last, or never at all, places that are temporarily abandoned and deprived of access and opportunities. Thus, the higher education institutions, following the fourth vision, designed a master's program to motivate future teachers to be assigned in these places and that those already assigned will stay there. Designing a master's program, the first of its kind in the Philippines, was arduous. However, we were inspired to provide the relevant and inspiring curriculum that would address the needs of our teachers teaching in the schools situated in these areas and provide them with a relevant professional development opportunity. Thus, we began by establishing a framework for the new degree. Observations and narratives from experienced teachers in the schools perceived to be challenged were validated by a survey conducted to define the parameters of what we describe as challenged areas. These include poverty, cultural diversity, natural disasters, geographical isolation, insurgency prevailing in a particular community, whether rural or urban, along with the identified situation, concomitant realities like illiteracy, lawlessness, and the prevalence of diseases and scarcity of in-demand amenities for learning like connectivity prevailed. To further validate the results, we continue to pursue information gathering through focus group discussion from our DepEd cluster schools to provide a robust background for developing the master's program. This was followed by transnational meetings and roundtable discussions with the assistance of our curriculum experts. We were able to actually establish the framework and clearly define what would be in the Masters of Arts in Education major in challenged areas in the Philippines, and a written curriculum was put in place. Then it actually went through a process such as curriculum committees review, institutional reviews, the academic council reviews, the administrative council approval, and of course, submitted to the Board of Regents. The master's program is composed of foundation courses for all Master of Arts in Education degrees, plus the 6 major courses developed by the 4 teams, and special elective courses allied to the major courses. Actually, a capstone project is a requirement in this particular program. These are the 6 major courses that were developed specifically for the specialization. In order that the degree program will be recognized and authorized, it secured the approval of the Commission on Higher Education. And having succeeded in all the requirements, the degree Master of Arts in Education major in Teaching in Challenged Areas was installed as one of the master's degrees in the Graduate School of the College of Education. A survey was conducted on the project members' experiences of designing the courses, and the results showed that it meant a great deal of transformation in terms of their commitment and motivation to work, sharing experiences, to collaborate well, and achieving the project's objectives. And it was very fulfilling. Along with the master's degree program, Infused in its BA curricula, elementary and secondary teaching, is the concept of teaching in the challenged areas. All of the graduating students were engaged in a series of webinars that tackled an introduction to the 6 modules parallel to the courses offered in the master's program. And these webinars lasted for the semester and situated in the course special topics 3. You are actually seeing a student's output showing his perception of his personal profile as a possible teacher who will be assigned in a challenged area. Here's another one. Qualities that she possesses that will make her survive in a challenged area. A pre-survey and post-survey were made, and it showed that 90% of the graduating students in education showed willingness to teach in challenged areas, although results showed also varying views on whether they will stay long in these areas. A design is being planned by the curriculum committee where the concept of teaching in challenged areas can be infused to make it more solid in the undergraduate curriculum. It will be a long journey, but having planted the seed of promise for those left behind will slowly grow and flourish in the country and beyond. This is what Project Fourth has been pursuing despite the pandemic. We persevered and continued to design the curriculum, and we hope to make an impact and change lives. Julia will now explain the future direction of this project.
What about the future? The Project Fourth wants to move along 6 main roads. 1, the extension of this measure beyond the fourth consortium. This was the aim from the beginning of the project, because the project aims at reaching in the first place all the main areas of these areas in the Philippines. In this particular point, the collaboration and the support of the Higher Education Commission in the Philippines has been decisive and is extremely important. The second road is the creation of a national professional support community among all the people who are working on these areas. We seriously believe that the transformation of these areas is critical to produce a real change in a country and in the world. With Fourth, we have identified the characteristics, the methodologies for support, but even more, we have a body of people, an extremely motivated group of academics and professionals who are ready to back up these communities. In fact, this is a very active and very impressive community. Number 3 is the development of research connected with both the master and the possible research for the future in this field of challenge areas in the Philippines, but beyond the Philippines as well. We know that in Fourth, we have already initiated this issue of research, but we want, and also of identification of places, but we know that there is still a long way to go in this cooperation. Fourth is the connecting of similar successful experience in other parts of the world. We want to learn and we want to share. We need to pass on all the information we have gathered, all the best practices that we have gathered, to be at the disposal of anyone, any group who wants to actually carry on this wonderful work in the world. So the cooperation has been initiated, but it needs to grow. Fifthly, in the 5th place, this is the 5th line, we aim at the replication of Fourth. This experience of Fourth, which is a very important experience for the people who have participated, should be, and we would like it to be replicated in other parts of the world where they have challenge areas. Particularly, we would like to follow the tuning community, which is all over the world at the moment. The fourth community knows that what they have experienced have the capacity to attract other regions. Therefore, we want to go together, and this has been very much present from the beginning. Finally, the sixth road is to start a joint master program with European universities. We believe that with the joint master program, the joint master degrees, people, different students from all over the world will have the capacity to link up and learn of this experience, of this academic program, and also they would be part of this work of extending and working very much on this particular field of study and field of work. So in this case, it would be offered to very different authors in the world in order to change the reality, in order to change the narrative of these critical areas of the world where transformation is really critical.
And at the end of this presentation, I want to refer to you to the website, of which you see the address, and also it gives you the contact information, which allows you to contact us when you have any questions left after this presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much to our presenters for presenting to us a fourth project. We have a question here from YouTube. Is there a possibility to accommodate ECTS system in countrywide implementation in the Philippines? Who would like to answer that among our speakers?
I can answer the question. I think at least starting answering this question. Of course, this project is not meant to implement a credit system in the Philippines, but there's another one which is running at the moment and which has just started. The project measuring and comparing achievements of learning outcomes in higher education in Asia. And this project in particular addresses the credit issue. And we are working on this in this project to come up with a model which actually fits the region, but might also fit the Philippines. It will be related. It will be based on the philosophy of ECTS, but it might have its own twist because there is the own context. But the focus will be on student workload in relation to the learning outcomes as perceived. And we hope that project, which started this year, will help finding a solution for this I dare to say pressing issue, not only for the Philippines, not only for Southeast Asia, but actually it's discussed in all world regions at the moment. I hope this answered the question. And some of the partners here are also involved in that particular program.
Still have around 2 minutes left, and I think there's no more questions so far, but would Dr. Nikilia and Dr. Ureta would like to add from Dr. Robert's answer?
Well, like West Visayas State University right now is very much involved in the Kaluhi for Asia, the one mentioned by Robert. So we are right now engaged in that particular project. So we look forward to find out the framework to show the equivalency of competency. So it's still in the work, so to speak, and we're looking forward to the result of that project. But for this particular one, which is Project Fourth, we are right now implementing the design master's program. And then we piloted the batch BA, the infusion of some concepts and focus on this, plus the training of cluster teachers from DepEd. So we're working on that in project for now. The equivalency, it's not yet being covered by this particular project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Diquilia. Dr. Ureta, would you like to add something?
I think it was already explained clearly by Dr. Diquilia and Dr. Robert. But of course, as USLS is also one of those institutions tapped by West Visayas to in this particular project on Kalohi project as far as looking into the learning outcomes. So hopefully we can look into the result of this project soon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ureta. Do we have other questions from YouTube? If none, then thank you very much for joining us this evening for our presentation about the fourth project.
Thank you too for allowing us to share the outputs we have and the work we're doing. It is very promising. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and have a great night, everyone.